Walk long enough among the tombstones, and the silence begins to feel heavy. The flowers, perfectly placed. The grass, manicured. The names, endless. California's gold rush pushed the population of San Francisco to its limits. Disease caused the death rate to soar. The cemeteries were full. The land was needed for the living, and a bold plan was required. Drastic times, drastic measures. One of the fastest growing cities in the world was out of room, so it made more by evicting the dead. They didn't remove the remains all at once. In 1901, San Francisco banned new burials within city limits. At first, it was framed as a health issue. Too many dead, too close to the living. People feared miasma, fire, plague, but disease was only part of the story. By the early 20th century, San Francisco was booming, and the cemeteries, they sat on some of the city's most valuable land, wide open and undeveloped. By 1914, families were being coldly notified. Pay a fee to move your relatives, or risk losing them to unmarked mass graves. Those who could pay got new plots, a fresh grave, a fresh stone. Those who couldn't were boxed together, their headstones dumped unceremoniously in the bay or ground up for city projects. Over the next 2 decades, entire graveyards were moved, carefully at times, sloppily at others. Between 1920 and 1941, an estimated 150,000 remains were relocated. Some were accounted for, but many weren't. San Francisco moved on, but the past had to go somewhere. The cemeteries in Colma don't end. They just change names. One rolls into the next. Land divided by the living, now shared by the dead. We spent a day walking them, reading headstones, tracing the parts of history that usually get skipped. Levi Strauss is here. So is Jacob Davis, the man who invented blue jeans, buried within eyesight of the man who got the credit. Wyatt Earp is here too, not under some windswept marker in the west, but here, in a nice but modest grave, arranged by his wife's family after he died in Los Angeles. Joe DiMaggio rests a short distance away, the Yankee Clipper. Fans still leave baseballs for the legend. The graves here stretch for miles, the famous right beside the forgotten. But Colma isn't only a resting place. It's a small town where the living are outnumbered 1,000 to 1. Fewer than 2,000 people live in Colma today, but they share it with more than 1.6 million dead. Roughly 80% of Colma's land is dedicated to burial. The rest, a scattering of homes and businesses. The florist shops, the headstone carvers, the funeral directors. It's not just a town with cemeteries, it's a town built to serve them. That includes Malloy's, one of the oldest establishments in town, a place for wakes and remembrances, for stories and second rounds. The walls are lined with history, and more than a few nods to the deceased. But its spirit is grounded in the celebration of life, because in a place built on serving the dead, you can't help but feel how precious life really is. Colma wasn't built to be symbolic. It was built out of necessity, a place to hold residents San Francisco no longer wanted. Harsh? Maybe. But Colma holds them anyway. Not all of the names here are famous. In fact, most aren't. There are faded graves with no flowers, no visitors, no one alive who remembers their stories. But that's the strange comfort of Colma. It remembers anyway. It doesn't romanticize the past, it just makes space for it. And in a town whose motto is, "It's great to be alive in Colma," you start to realize memory isn't always about who made history. It's also about who still has a place to keep it.